I'm Emily Russell. I'm a landscape architect here in Silverdale, Washington at Clear Creek Nursery. So in this situation where we have a narrow space to deal with, it's about 6 to 9 feet. We had to go down about 4 feet to remove the existing soil. And so there's a perforated pipe at the base that ultimately, moves the water through to the storm drain. On top of that is a sand filter, and on top of that are several inches of compost which do a good job of holding the moisture. It's a little heavier than other mulches, so it doesn't tend to float as much and move and erode. It also adds nutrients to the soil. So under the mulch that you see here, and there's about 6 inches to a foot of it's organic compost that we used as a mulch here in this rain garden, and then underneath that is a mixture of soil that is very high in sand content in order to get the permeability that you need. So in addition to the soils doing a great job of filtering out some of the heavy metals and pollution that's washing off of paving or other hard surfaces, plants do a great job of taking up some of those chemicals also and keeping them from moving through the soil and into the sound. You can have two classes of plants basically. We have some plants planted along the slopes of the rain garden are sometimes different than the plants that you would use in the base, which are called emergents, and they can handle having wet feet more so than the plants along the side. So the best plants to use in the bottom of the rain garden are things like sedges and rushes, two types of grasses basically that we've used here that do particularly well with wet feet, as well as the red osier dogwood that you see along here. And will look very beautiful in the next couple of months as it starts to leaf out, and we'll start to fill up the base of the rain garden here and do a better job of competing with weeds.
Curtis Hinman. I'm with Washington State University, and I'm faculty with Extension, WSU Extension, and I'm a watershed ecologist. So work broadly in work in stormwater as well as stream health and conditions. The most basic level, rain gardens are designed to accept water from small areas like a rooftop or a driveway or a part of a road. And they're designed to take up that water, kind of soak it in, infiltrate it into the ground, and filter at the same time. There are many pollutants that are in stormwater that are very difficult to filter. Things that are dissolved, like dissolved metals, nitrate, phosphate. There are things that move through our normal filtering systems pretty easily. And the research so far indicates that these systems are really good at removing bacteria and removing those harmful, whether they're nutrients or fecal matter out of stormwater. Soil and plants are really, they're biologically active. And so there's microbial populations, there are all kinds of soil animals that process pollutants, as well as organic material and mineral material that pollutants absorb onto. So 24/7 you have billions of organisms working on removing these pollutants as that stormwater moves through the soil. So far, the research doesn't indicate that these systems break down rapidly, even with fairly heavy pollutant loads. So you'll have metals, nutrients, pesticides, oil and grease, all these things flowing into a rain garden or a bioretention area, and all of these different pollutant removal mechanisms working at once. And it appears so far, and the research is telling us, that these things are able to withstand pretty heavy loads. and process those pollutants in multiple ways and still grow plants. So there's really most every pollutant removing mechanism that we think about and use in stormwater management is present in a bioretention system. And it comes to us pretty much with very little effort. I mean, it's soil, minerals, compost, and plants. And you just let them go to work. And they're one of the most complex and effective filtering systems that we have.
Well, first of all, a rain garden is probably one of the most natural and simplest forms of stormwater mitigation, both for volume, and it has, all the science shows it's very, very effective at removing enormous amounts of stormwater pollutants we care about. Even on bad soils, if you had a rain garden that is 20% as much as the total impervious surface, which is your roofs and your driveways and your sidewalks and those kind of things, that it will handle mid-90% of all the rainfall that comes on your yard, the entire site, over a course of a year. But there are other things you can do. Pervious pavements for a driveway. And Kitsap County currently says that if you use pervious pavement, the first 5,000 square feet does not count against the impervious surface threshold, which requires extra permitting and engineering requirements. And we know that most of the pollutants going into the Puget Sound come from roads, and those come from automobiles and trucks. And the hydrocarbons, dissolved metals, and other things, and both the science on pervious pavement as well as bioretention show that they are among the most effective in naturally treating those pollutants and removing them from the stormwater. This is the Home Builder Association office site, and last year through a PI grant from the Puget Sound Action Team and the donations from a lot of members, we retrofitted it to create a showcase for low-impact development techniques. What you're seeing right here is pervious concrete. The water goes right through and drains right through, and in a few minutes I'll take the garden hose out and let you take a look and see how that works. Then in the center driveway section we have pervious asphalt, which is another product where the rainwater goes through. Over here we have 4 different types of porous paver blocks. The first 2 have gravel in between them. The last 2 we set up so that we put some soil and put grass in between them. These are just different ways to apply different low-impact development techniques. And now we can take a look at how the pervious concrete handles rain. And if you notice, this is a very, very, very heavy flow. And with the rain we've had recently, there's still some water in the concrete, but you can see how it creates a little area and then stops going. Pervious asphalt, I've been told that it costs anywhere from a little bit more than traditional to substantially more, and it's going to be dependent based on how much volume, how big an area you're going to be covering. We built a new shed that has a vegetated roof right here. This is a product called Ideal Turf, which is an artificial turf that has holes to allow water to infiltrate, and it's part of the rock aggregate bed underneath. It comes back to the aggregate bed underneath the pervious pavement that allows stormwater and excess rain to hold there until it has time to infiltrate back into the ground. We built a very large bioretention cell, 60 foot long, started 6 feet wide, tapering to 3 feet wide at 4 foot depth right through here. And the site has had, all the soils have been amended and drought resistant native vegetation planted, and they were planted in June of last year. Also, you see this tank right here, right over here. This is a tank where all the roof drains are collected and tight lined to the tank. It's called rainwater harvesting. And what that does, it allows us to collect water. It has a pump in it as part of the irrigation system. When there's water in it, it will supplement the irrigation, and when it overflows, it'll overflow into the bioretention cell. And those are the techniques that we employed here on the HBA showcase site.